Highly Strung Hannah by Robert Chantler. This week, Borderline.
I shouldn't be here. I don't need a psychiatrist.
Well, darling, sorry to be blunt, but the police felt differently.
I only went on one of my nude sleepwalks.
Well, it went a bit beyond your usual sleepwalks this time, didn't it? This is a small price to pay to avoid 6 months inside.
So humiliating.
Nobody knows.
I do.
Well, obviously.
He does too.
Who?
The psychiatrist.
No, he doesn't.
We might bump into each other in Waitrose.
I'm sure he doesn't go around identifying his patients in Waitrose or anywhere else. Heaven's sake.
Mrs. Spencer, and you are?
Her husband. She wouldn't come unless I did.
Right. Well, hello, Mr. Spencer.
Hannah and Tim will be fine. Can we sit anywhere?
Yes.
Oh, that sofa looks good. I mean, comfortable. I'm not sexually attracted to sofas.
Right.
Oh, and it's as soft as a baby's bottom. I mean, not that I feel baby's bottom. I mean, I have done because my son was a baby, but only by the by. Not like, oh, Josh, what a lovely bottom you've got. Kind of thing, but that would just be weird.
Darling, just sit down.
Wait, I can't use my wipes on this. It's real leather. Oh, but I really want to sit on it.
Your life's just one crisis after another, isn't it?
Tim! Excuse me.
Yes.
When was the last time somebody was sitting here?
My last patient was on that sofa. He laid back on it like you would on a couch.
Right, so his bottom would have been in the middle then?
Probably. Why, does that matter?
Well, I can't sit on the cushion if I think somebody else might have farted on it. So I have to wipe it, and I can't wipe it because I don't want to risk damaging the leather, you see.
I assure you, nobody's farted on it. Okay?
Okay. Oops!
Until now.
Sorry. Nervous. I'll wipe it. Oh, no, I won't. My own farts don't count. I don't mind sitting on my own farts. Tim's, different matter. He does it quite a lot.
Hannah!
You seem very preoccupied with farts.
No, it's only, well, you know when you're going up an escalator and there's someone a couple of steps in front of you, so their bottom's sort of in line with your face?
Yes.
I have two fears about escalators. One is that I might get my shoelace caught and get it all caught up, and the other is that the person in front farts in my face.
Right. Do you believe that this concerns other people as well to such an extent?
Why?
Just interested.
Oh, no. This is a trick. If I answer yes, you'll section me, and if I answer no, you'll section me.
Hannah, psychiatrists don't section people for being scared of being farted at.
Oh, good.
And do you worry about sitting on chairs that might have been farted on generally?
Yes, I have wet wipes with me which I deploy on trains, planes, and at restaurants, cinemas, coffee shops and other places at which I might need to sit down. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not mental.
Darling, you are coming across as a bit mental. Though, so why don't you just let Dr. Kent take the lead, eh?
Tim, I think it would be better if you just observed passively. It's quite unusual to have a client accompanied by their partner for no other reason than comfort.
Right, well, she's a bit insecure.
Don't say that, he's a psychiatrist. You're not going to section me, are you?
What?
You see, you can't deny it. All psychiatrists are the same, all poking their noses in people's personal private problems and getting massive amounts of money in the process.
Now you just sound paranoid.
I'm not paranoid. All these psychiatrists are out to get me. That's why I don't like them. And I don't like going to psychiatrists, but I'm not mental.
Right, well, I don't like to use the word mental. I'm not here to label you or judge you or section you. I'm just here to listen and help you through whatever emotional issues have brought you here. Hopefully with time you'll end up a more well-adjusted person.
How long have you got?
Tim,
please, passive, I think we said.
Sorry.
one session, that was the deal. The police said I had to see you for an assessment.
The number of sessions wasn't actually mentioned though, was it, darling?
I'll sort you out in a minute.
So why are you here, Hannah?
It's too mortifying to say. Darling, you tell him.
I'm being passive.
Tell him!
Well, my wife, Hannah, she gets a bit stressed sometimes, and when it gets too much, it manifests in nude sleepwalking. Now, usually she just walks around the block and comes back to bed. But the other night, she broke into someone's house and was helping herself to the contents of their fridge when they caught her and called the police. Well, the police know her, so they brought her home and said she had two options. Either she went to see a psychiatrist to get some help, or she'd be charged with breaking and entering and indecency.
Oh, shame.
I see. Well, don't worry, Hannah. You're here and you've done what they asked, and if you are getting stressed, then it's right that you should come for help. Now, what stresses you?
Life? Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I'll take it back. Oh, look, there's a pigeon on your window ledge. That's nice.
It's all right. You don't have to avoid the subject. Life is a very general word, isn't it?
Yes.
Surely all life can't be stressful.
I like everything to be clean. When it isn't, I don't like it. I always carry wipes, a thermos, lavender hand gel and a clean flannel wherever I go. It's in my bag. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to catch anything.
Okay.
By the way, your toilet's past muster.
Thank you.
Very nice.
What else stresses you?
I'd rather not say. It's not that I'm avoiding it, it's just I'm not mental. And if I say all the things that make me stressed, you'll think I'm mental.
You seem to believe I think you're mental.
Not just you. Everyone. Everyone thinks I'm mental. Oh no, I shouldn't have said that. That sounded really mental. You're probably thinking I'm paranoid now, that everyone calls me mental, or that these voices in my head.
Not at all. Tim, join in for a moment. Do you think Hannah's mental?
Well, there's a right answer, but it could cost me my bollocks. So let's just say she's quirky, a bit of a kook, colourful.
Right.
Oh, enough with the euphemisms. Just say mad, why don't you?
You know why.
Okay. But you hold down a relationship, don't you?
Yes.
And a job.
Yes.
And presumably your social network.
Yes.
Do your quirks adversely affect your personal happiness?
No, not often.
We use a manual to diagnose mental illness. If your level of occupational, social and personal functioning is fine, you technically can't be said to have a particular mental disorder.
Oh, joy! Oh, thank you! Did you hear that, Mr Tiddles? Your mummy's not mental. See, Tim. Told you. Didn't we, Mr Tiddles? Yes, Hannah, we did. Whoops.
Do you want to talk about what happened there?
No. Just because I bring my teddy bear with me to potentially stressful situations to talk to it doesn't make me mental.
No, it's when it talks back to you, isn't it?
I won't tell you again, Tim. Now shut it.
Well, look, if it will help you, let me tell you something about me. I have a regular therapy with a psychiatrist. I have to know myself on an ongoing basis.
Talk about the blind leading the blood. Are you mental then?
No. All therapists have to have therapists. Someone objective to talk to and share things with, so our hang-ups don't risk sabotaging the work we do with our clients. You can blame Freud.
Thanks, I will next time I see him.
What?
It was a joke. I know who Freud was.
My point is that there's no shame in finding someone to lean on, to talk to when things get a bit stressful. Someone objective, someone who doesn't know you. You could come regularly if you wanted.
Your fees? Stuff that.
Hannah?
Well, you know. Is that coffee in that jug?
Yes.
Is it for anyone to drink?
Yes.
Oh, it's self-service, is it right?
I see. Well,
It's all right, I can do it. Whoops, bit full there, hang on.
Compo is alive and well.
Would you rather I spilled it?
No.
It's a bit bland.
Well, it's a psychiatrist's office, not Starbucks. What do you expect? Just drink it and don't spill it.
I was just going to ask you about why you thought you got so easily stressed.
I don't know. It's not me that's at fault, it's everyone else.
Distancing yourself from the problem. Avoiding taking ownership.
No, just being honest.
Well, look, at the risk of sounding like a cliche, tell me about your childhood.
Don't want to talk about my childhood.
OK, why not?
Well, it's a bit of a haze. I was brought up in Birmingham, then we all moved to Wolverhampton for a while after my mum died. And then I went to uni, I met Tim, he was very clean and I liked that.
Tell me a bit about your father.
He's an entertainer, you know, like Ken Dodd and that, you know, Max Bygraves, Ted Ray.
Right.
Ted Bovis.
Last warning, Tim.
Would you say he was a character?
Oh, yes. He has all these rituals he has to do and all these beliefs that he'll die if he doesn't do his rituals. What a nutcase he is. Can you imagine living with someone like that?
Heaven forbid.
Tim!
So he was obsessive compulsive, as we say.
I suppose. Superstitious too.
And are you?
Superstitious. Bit. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not mental.
I didn't say you were. Lots of people are superstitious. Do you feel compelled to do certain things to prevent adverse effects happening? Like your dad?
I'm not obsessive compulsive. I check everything's in order before I leave the house. Fine. But that doesn't make me mental. Just careful.
Darling, if this therapy's going to help, you have to be more honest.
Shut up! He asked me, not you. Anyway, I'm only here so I don't end up in prison. And I don't need therapy, and I'm not mental.
Wait until you hear how she likes her tea.
Tim! I'm particular about my tea, not obsessive. I'd just like it golden enough to be aesthetically pleasing, milky enough to be milky but not too milky. And I must have an English breakfast tea bag, and it must brew for precisely 1.5 minutes. And before you ask, I have an egg timer with me to make sure.
Right.
Tea bag first, then milk, always.
And you obviously have very high standards in respect of cleanliness and hygiene.
Yes, nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean I'm mental.
Why do you think I think you're mental?
Because you're a psychiatrist.
You're very tense about being here, and I can tell you distrust me.
What you writing down? You're writing stuff about me. I have a right to see that.
Of course, and you may. No secrets here.
Right.
You can have a copy before you leave if you want.
Right.
Which presumably you'll need to prove to the police that you came.
I guess. And a receipt on your letterhead.
Of course. Hannah, may I run a few of my initial thoughts past you?
Yeah.
You seem to think people think you're mental. You have a special dislike for psychiatrists because of their powers to section you or label you. You seem very insecure. An insecurity that manifests by virtue of your need to be accompanied everywhere by Mr Tiddles, with whom you hold two-way conversations. You're obsessed with cleanliness to the point where you carry your own washing kit with you and wipes to wipe seats someone might have farted on. And you don't want to accept the possibility that although you're not mental enough to be diagnosable, you might still need some help.
I've been telling her that for years.
Right, that's it. Get out.
Right, I'll be in the waiting room.
No, stay here.
You can't have it both ways. I'm in or I'm out.
Or both.
Leave our sex life out of this.
Hannah, do you think my initial observations are fair?
I'd rather not say.
She does.
I'll put you over my knee and smack your bottom in a minute, Hannah. Ooh.
Freudian slip.
This is all your fault. Now he'll ask me about my mother.
Did your mother used to say that to you?
No. Yes. Maybe. Nothing wrong with discipline. Ask Tim. Keeps us amused on a cold Friday night.
Hannah.
Whoops.
So you engage in adult fantasy play,
Yes.
and you're in control.
Usually. Sometimes things happen which do or could threaten my sense of control. I don't like it. Perfectly normal. Lots of people are like that. Doesn't make me some sort of nutbag, does it?
Again, Hannah, no. I'm not suggesting you're nutbag, which, by the way, is not a very appropriate phrase to use about yourself or anyone else, really, is it?
Don't tell me what I can and can't say. That makes me really mad. Well, not mad. I didn't mean that. I mean... Oh, I just don't like it. Look, oh, that's not what I meant. Oh, bollocks.
Perhaps, Hannah, we could try a little word association. I say a word and you say the first word that comes into your mind.
Why?
Well, because I think you're too tense to freely associate, and it might help us to help you.
All right, let me just finish me coffee.
Right.
What if I want to say something two-worded?
That's fine.
Okay, and I'll have time to think of a word.
No, it's very important you reply with the first thing that comes into your head.
I don't see how that will help. And what's freely associating?
When you just say whatever comes into your head without any guidance or facilitation from me. But you have to be reasonably relaxed, and you don't seem to be relaxed enough. Word association is very Jungian, and free association is very Freudian, but...
Hannah.
Am I boring you?
No, just... I'm not interested.
Right.
And by the way, I am relaxed. I just don't think on reflection that this will be a very good idea after all.
Because you are worried that you might reveal something you don't want to acknowledge, or maybe something you'd rather I didn't know about. I'm not asking you to reveal all.
Good, because I don't strip off for psychiatrists.
Right.
I mean, I don't want you to think I strip off for other people. I mean, I'm not a slapper or anything.
Right.
Don't say right like that.
Like what?
Like you don't believe me.
I was merely acknowledging your reply without passing comment either way. It's all about how you interpret such things that helps us move the therapy along.
Trickery.
Psychoanalysis.
Yeah, well, you can take your Freud and stick it up your jumper. Bad enough living with him without having you stuffing it down my throat.
What do you mean, living with him?
The beard thing, I mean.
Yeah, well, Freud's was pointier than mine. The beard thing, I mean.
I suppose it was better groomed too. Oh, you know when you go to the doctors for something and you're a bit embarrassed, so you say you're asking for your friend, and they say, friend, with more emphasis than usual.
I know this tendency that some people have when they're embarrassed, yes?
I had to get Hannah some knickers she wanted in Ann Summers once. I was so embarrassed about it, I had to tell the girl at the till they were for me.
Right.
And I've never been back to that branch since.
Time is valuable here. Perhaps as you're paying £150 an hour, we should save the stories for another time.
Did you say £150 an hour? Stuff me, we could have gone on the NHS.
Well, indeed. Look, you came here thinking you were mental. I told you you weren't. You actually smiled when I told you that. That was worth £150 for sure, wasn't it? To have the burden of worrying that you were mental lifted off your shoulders.
Well, good. If I'm not mental, why am I still here, and why didn't I leave 20 minutes ago? Hang on. You never said I wasn't mental. You said I wasn't mental enough to be diagnosed with.
Yes, well, what I meant was your obsessions don't warrant a diagnosis of obsessive-compulsive disorder. Although I would say from what you said about your father that he has the condition, and things like that tend to run in the families.
Yes, well, I'll go with Tim on this occasion. I think words like quirky and kooky will suffice. If everyone were normal in the world, it would be boring, wouldn't it? Not to say that by saying that I don't see myself as normal, obviously, just to clarify that.
Oh, darling, you're starting to sound mad again.
Use that word in front of the psychiatrist. Anyway, it's you who needs the psychiatry, not me.
Why?
Because if you think I'm mental, then it's clearly you who are in fact mental. Because if you were normal, you wouldn't think I was mental. But you project your own mentalness on me, you see.
Whatever makes you happy, darling.
Anyway, yes, why am I still here?
You tell me.
Well, I guess it's the comfy sofa and there's coffee and...
Deep down, you realise you could benefit from some therapy.
No, rubbish.
Is this denial I hear before me?
No, well, maybe. It's not my fault things stress me out, it's other people. Their lack of personal hygiene, that means I have to wipe everything with wipes someone less fussy than me might have touched, and that's why I bring a bathroom with me in my handbag everywhere I go. That's why I bring my own cutlery and plates to a restaurant, and why I have a car seat cover for the seat I use on the train going to work in the morning.
Of course.
Oh, and the face mask.
Right.
Yeah, as long as people carry on accommodating my quirks, then I'm happy.
Well, as long as you're happy.
I am. When people get off my case and just let me be.
And Hannah, had you not considered there might be a simple solution to your nude sleepwalking that might prevent you from being in similar trouble with the police in future?
What?
Better security at night. Anyway, I'll get my secretary to copy the notes and print your receipt. How are you paying?
Bank of Tim. Card?
Fine. Excuse me a moment. I'll be right back.
Check that receipt.
Of course.
Here we are. Thank you. And Hannah, my door is always open if you want more therapy. Without daring to say that you're mad, you might benefit from some therapy. But it's up to you.
Yes, it is. And I don't need any therapy, thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you, Dr. Kent.
Come on, let's go before he gets the straitjacket out. That session was a waste of time. I didn't tell him anything I didn't know about myself.
Well, I know you like to think you're always right, but there was a purpose. The inspector was satisfied by the report that you'd explored your stress, and with my assurances about security, the matter has been dropped.
True.
Oh, I love you so much, however much of a nightmare you make my life. I wouldn't want to spend my life with anyone else.
Oh, thank you, Tim. I wouldn't want to spend my life with anyone else either.
Night, Poppet.
Night, night. Night, Mr Tiddles. Night, Hannah. Me? Mental? What a thought.
You have been listening to Sue Ford as Hannah, Robert Chantler as Tim, and Robin Whitbread as Dr. Kent. Highly Strung Hannah was written and directed by Robert Chantler and was a Free Theatre Company production.